Welcome back and welcome to our very first episode of Health and Nutrition. To moderate this segment is our dear and well-known host, Dr. Shambhu Banik. Here on this set, Dr. Banik questions Dr. Lalita Kaul on a common problem in many households, and that is overweight and obesity. By the way, Dr. Kaul is a renowned professor at College of Medicine, Harvard University.
Good morning. Welcome to Women and Worldview segment this morning, where we have a well-known and distinguished professor and author on books on nutrition, Professor Lalita Kaul, who will be sharing with you her 3 decades of experiences with health and nutrition. Professor Kaul, welcome to Women and Worldview segment of Health and Nutrition.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and honor to be on this show.
This morning, we'll be talking about one of the most pressing problem of the nation, overweight and obesity. You have done a lot of works in this field. My first question to you, could you tell our viewers what do we mean by the 2 words overweight and obesity?
Overweight is about 18 to 20% above your ideal body weight, and about 20% is obesity, which is a serious problem and can affect the health of the person.
Besides heart, what areas of the bodies and organs it affects?
It practically affects all the organs, as per the research, your heart, kidney, your GI, your diabetes. It can affect primarily or secondarily all organs of the body.
Now tell me, as this is the epidemic proportion of obesity and overweight in this country, how can you reduce the incidence of obesity and overweight?
Well, obesity and overweight are 2 reasons: genetics and environment. Genetics is about 40% and 60% is environment. Genetics we cannot do much because we are born with our genes, but environment 60% is a big number, and under environment comes your food, your lifestyle, exercise, diet, everything, psychosocial, and that is modifiable, and that can make a big difference.
Can you tell our viewers how can they modify these environmental factors?
Well, if we go by each, let's take overweight and obesity, getting the right diet, and it is very important that is individualized, as I do with my patients, depending what background you are. In Indian, Kashmiri, Bengali, Punjabi, among US, you like southern cuisine, so it has to be individualized. And the weight loss has to be gradual. By taking all these fast diets, it comes back. Number 2 is exercise. You don't have to be a marathon walker, runner. You can do anything. I have had patients who are sedentary because of their condition, even walking 10 minutes 4 times or walking briskly. And the 3 is if you are smoking, it's high time to, with the help, it's very hard. Drinking, and of course your social life. Everything has to be individualized according to your lifestyle, and it has to be part of your everyday living, not just doing in one thing and okay. So it has to be like every day, changing a shirt, taking a shower. But it's okay once in a while you're celebrating or something happens. It should not be a punishment. It's just way of life.
Could you comment on the food habits of not only Americans, but Indian Americans living in this country?
Food habits of this, because we have ready-made foods, even we have many mushrooming Indian groceries, Indian restaurants, and the foods are very rich. And there are recipes which can be modified, and you can cut the calories into half, saturated fat into half. And Indian Americans or South Asian for that factor, in fact I have done a book, are more prone to cardiovascular disease in this country, and this is because of the rich diet, sedentary life. And also we have a genetic factor, is that one of our cholesterols, our arteries are narrow. Once the fat starts accumulating, it has to be scavenged, that means slowly to be withdrawn, taken out. Plus we have one subfraction of cholesterol, alpha, which is high. So all these factors make our community a risk factor for diabetes and heart disease. And so these can be modifiable.
Could you comment on the incidence of obesity and overweight? Is it common to every segment of the population, or it is more common among rich people or poor people?
Oh, obesity is rampant. First, talking about the United States, is the highest among these African Americans, Latin Americans, Indian, of course, Indian Americans, and it is diabetes and obesity is very high. Nationally, this is the highest level of obesity, and I have been on many panels, and we want to take the actions which are not like a punishment, because the government said you cannot do, and some restaurants have even started writing the calories. It is getting very high among children. I get patients, children between ages 8 and 12 with diabetes, and we don't want to put them on medication. And it is at the highest. It's also happening in developing countries. I was recently on a show and they said in developing countries you have malnutrition and obesity at the same time, and they're concurrently there. But obesity is also malnutrition. So rich people, their food is there, and poor people will say this is the only food we can have it. But with guidance and help, they can be also, their diet can be also modified.
Now, can you comment why America is the number one in the world with regard to overweight and obesity?
Well, one of the reasons is the environmental. Foods are so readily available, and in this country, per dollar, we spend like 30-40 cents. But if you look in developing country like India and others, though it's one now developed country, its food cost is very high. You can spend 60 cents. Like ordinary middle class people in India cannot afford to get juice, because I've talked. It's expensive, we cannot afford it. Whereas in this country, even you have very limited means, you can go to any fast food and get the cheapest hamburger or anything. And this is telling you from my experience of 30 years. So even with minimum, food is abundant here. You can go to the cheapest fast food to the most expensive cuisine, and food is readily available, and that's what's one of the causes.
Can you comment on the nutritional contents of the food, especially the chemicals?
There's a big debate going on that many foods are treated with chemicals, like how do the apples look so shiny and waxy. I always tell my patients, wash them in a lot of water or let them soak. And they have to do it. It's between the two. They have to make it look good, make it look last. Some of them are helpful things, but there's a lot of chemicals, even though they are regulated by FDA, but there are some which are gone. The food supplements and all are not controlled very strictly by FDA as the medical drugs are. So there's so much out there, and the consumers have to decide what has a long shelf life. If it is a canned food, then if you are hypertensive, canned food is not good for you. Fresh food is vegetable. So some kind of guidance is needed, that we have bombarded with the information through media, and many consumers fall for it. They want easy way to prepare food and be delicious at the same time.
Professor Kaul, you know the First Lady Michelle Obama has one of their pet subject to reduce the incidence of overweight and obesity in America. Even she has her first White House garden.
Yes.
Could you speak about her project? I know you are keeping an eye on this subject, and I hope one day, very soon, that First Lady contacts you and asks your advice how to reduce this epidemic of overweight and obesity, especially the future of our nation, the children.
Oh, she's doing a great job from the day she became First Lady, and the garden, and also she's saying this move on exercise thing. She has visited the schools, and she has changed, because the children, what they were getting at lunch, and the idea is, how do you get children French fries? They love it, and they're finding the dietitian method, they're tasty. How do you put fruit on their tray when the fruit was not put before, a pastry was put it? There has been some opposition, and they feel it's like, policing, but she is moving very gradually into it. In my own medical school, where I'm professor, we have started a garden project in summers, and I have visited the families where they had a small, even if they had a small townhouse, where the children and all, and some people have donated their time to put the garden. Then I went over, why do you grow tomatoes? What does it have? What does this have? And it received a lot of publicity. I think it's an excellent idea, the garden vegetable, and to be on the move. And one of the problems are in cities, children don't have to move. The bus is there, and there is big developments, and after some grade, they are not exercise, physical activity is not included.
What do you advise to our viewers about, as most of the audience are Indian American community, what they can do to reduce the incidence of obesity and overweight in the children of Indian American children?
The diet, exercise, and making that part of their lifestyle. If the parents take role in it from the very beginning, if you tell your child, hey, I don't like spinach, it has happened, so they carried these prejudices. So I have had some mothers who put Coke in the bottle because to pacify the child, or put them in front of TV. So if you from the beginning, it is changing. I see now mothers carrying little bags of cereals. And so it starts from home. And the children, so diet, exercise has to be start early. You cannot just suddenly tell them no, no, no. So you have to reinforce positive views from the beginning.
Well, this segment is coming to an end. I want to thank you for sharing your 3 decades of experience with our viewers. We'll be talking about some of your recipes that you have published in the book, and also we'll be talking in the next segment some other issues about health and nutrition. So thank you very much for coming and sharing your ideas with us.
I'm very happy to do this. Thank you.